What's up, guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name's Dylan Zachary, and I'm a graphic designer and music enthusiast. So today, we're going to be going over the top 5 Pink Floyd albums of all time. So that means that we're going to be going through a listing of 5 of the top best Pink Floyd albums. And there's a lot of Pink Floyd albums. And me being a huge Pink Floyd fanatic, that is extremely hard to narrow down to just 5 records. That's what we're going to be doing today. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Leave it down below what you guys think of your opinion on this. And let me know if you think I'm wrong. There's tons of albums out there by Pink Floyd. I might be wrong. There might be some other albums that I forgot to put up in the top 5. But make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. It helps out so much. We just hit our milestone of 100 subscribers, and we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and it all starts with you guys. So thank you guys so much for checking out all the videos. It means so much to a small-time YouTuber like myself. So thank you guys so much. So let's get into the video, shall we? Alright, before we get into the whole top 5 Pink Floyd albums, I want to give you a little bit of backstory of my Pink Floyd knowledge and what Pink Floyd means to me. So, I've seen David Gilmour twice, I've seen Nick Mason twice, and I've seen Roger Waters 11 times. Pink Floyd was my go-to growing up music-wise. I grew up in a Pink Floyd household. I grew up in a very big music household. Pink Floyd was the go-to band in my household, and I just absolutely loved them growing up. There's pictures, if I can find one, I'll throw it up there, but there's pictures of me in like 2nd grade wearing Pink Floyd t-shirts. It's crazy. It's one of my mom's favorite bands, one of my dad's favorite bands, and they're just a great band. They're a great band, and I learned a lot about them at a very young age, and I was very into them at a very young age, and it was really cool. I remember to this day seeing Pink Floyd perform live at Live 8 on the TV when I was like, I don't know, 9, 10 years old. It was crazy. But yeah, like I said, I've seen David Gilmour twice, I've seen Nick Mason twice, and I've seen Roger Waters 11 times. I never got to see Rick Wright, sadly, or Syd Barrett, obviously. I did see all the other guys a bunch of times, so that's kind of the basis of it. I know a lot of Pink Floyd stuff, a lot of Pink Floyd facts, and I'm known around my friends and family as just the music guy and the Pink Floyd guy, and it's something I hold really near and dear to my heart. So, like I said in the beginning of this video, this was extremely hard to narrow down 5 records. All of them mean so much to me, and when you grow up with the music, it's almost like you're nostalgic for a time that you never were a part of, but yet you kind of make your own memories and make it your own. And with that being said, let's get into the top 5 countdown. It was extremely hard, and let's get into it. Top 5 Pink Floyd albums. Ranking at number 5, Metal came out in 1971. This one is extremely near and dear to my heart. Echoes, One of These Days, A Pillow of Winds, Fearless, Seamus, they're all amazing songs. It's really hard to narrow it down, it really is, but Metal is definitely deserving to be in the top 5. This album's really cool because you can see right here, it's actually an eardrum, a close-up picture of an eardrum underwater with ripples in it, kind of like creating like the sound wave effect. It's a really weird album cover, but really awesome. And this was like the beginning of Pink Floyd honing in their sound and craft and really becoming one as a band, because they were still in the 60s in that weird Syd Barrett era where David Gilmour was still trying to find his flow in the band and what his purpose was in Pink Floyd, and trying not to mimic Syd Barrett anymore and kind of trying to, you know, stand on his own 2 feet. Metal was one of those albums that just was the birth of Pink Floyd and its greatness and what we know as Pink Floyd today. Metal was the birth of it all. Metal was the beginning of the sound of Pink Floyd that we know so well today. So that's why I chose Metal in the top 5 placement of the top 5 Pink Floyd albums. Metal, a great record. Highly recommend checking out if you've never listened to it, and just go to the flip side of side number 2, Echoes. Echoes is life-changing. Promise you. Can you guys guess what number 4 is? I'll give you a second. Take a guess. What do you think number 4 is? Number 4 is Wish You Were Here. So 1975's Wish You Were Here. This record is awesome. You got Shine On You Crazy Diamond, Have a Cigar, Welcome to the Machine, Wish You Were Here, and then Shine On You Crazy Diamond 6 through 9. Both bookend the album beautifully, and this album cover is another awesome, iconic, legendary album cover with the little burn effect there. I've always loved that growing up, even before I got into the whole graphic design thing. That little burn aspect there to add just a little extra. It's this attention to detail. It's really awesome with this record. But you got the guy set on fire there, which actually happened. They actually went to the Warner Brothers lot and set a guy on fire. Awesome album cover. So this one comes in at number 4. It's really hard to narrow these ones down and get them to a ranking. They're all great albums, and it's really hard to just nail them down to a specific ranking. Number 3, bang, we got 1977 Animals. So this one has Pigs on the Wing, Dogs, Pigs 3 different ones, Sheep, and Pigs on the Wing Part 2. I really like the the 8-track version because you got the solo by Snowy White included on that, and it's just really cool. I like to look that up on YouTube every once in a while just to hear it because it's an awesome one. This album is notoriously for being a difficult album for Pink Floyd to record. With the success of Dark Side of the Moon and the success of Wish You Were Here, this one was extremely tough for them to get out. This one's awesome because you got the pig in the middle of Battersea Towers there. This is an awesome album cover. Battersea Towers is still there. Apparently it's a mall and like a whole mecca now. Pretty cool that it's still alive and kicking it. This one is an awesome album. In 2017, Roger Waters did a tour, and he actually built in the middle of the arena a Battersea Tower replica, if you will, with screens and stuff like that, and actually had like the pillars come out of the center and had a little pig flying in the middle of the towers. It was really awesome. I definitely recommend looking up some videos of that. That was a really awesome experience, and he performed dogs and pigs on that tour, which was really, really cool. It was really neat to watch them basically create Battersea Towers from scratch with some screens and just a couple inflatables. It was really, really neat. I'd also like to recommend, too, the 2018 version of Animals. That one is really awesome, too, just because they brought all the levels up for the instruments, and they kind of pan them in different parts of the speakers and everything, and like you can hear everything crisp and clear, and it's a really awesome version of that album. And honestly, if I was to rank it, I might have ranked it a little bit higher just for that version alone because that version is really cool. So check out Animals 1977, the original, and also check out 2018's remix because they're both really great. And that's choice number 3 on the top 5 ranking, Animals. Can't go wrong with this record. So now we're down to the top 2 Pink Floyd records in my Pink Floyd top 5. And I know that I'm going to get some hate for this next choice. I know what you guys are thinking the first Pink Floyd record's going to be. I know what you're thinking, but it's not that. And I apologize for that. The second best out of the top 5 Pink Floyd albums of all time is Dark Side of the Moon. I know this is extremely difficult for everybody. Dark Side of the Moon, 1973's Dark Side of the Moon, is an iconic record, and it's one of my favorites. I absolutely love this album. It's one of the first concept albums by Pink Floyd, and it's just great front to back. You have to listen to it front to back. It's the only time I ever listen to it is if I listen to it front to back. Obviously, you spawned hits on this record like Time, Money, and Brain Damage and Eclipse is another favorite of mine, but this whole album, front to back, is phenomenal. It's really difficult to put it in the second position, but there's a couple reasons, and I'll explain why it's in the second position. So one of the main reasons is yes, it's an iconic record. Most of you thought it was in the first place position in the top 5 ranking. I know, it's shocking. That album has done so much, and it's so iconic, and just the triangle alone, that album's going to stand the test of time forever. It's going to be known as one of the greatest albums forever. It was on the charts for a stupid amount of time, like 16 years or something like that, which is insane for an album. It's sold over like 50 million plus copies. It sits near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. I understand that. But Dark Side of the Moon is also a giant cliche. In my opinion, you got sectioned off in 3 different sections of Pink Floyd. You got the Syd Barrett era, you got the Roger Waters era, and you got the David Gilmour era. Out of all those, Dark Side of the Moon is definitely up there, but there's so much other Pink Floyd music that I feel like Dark Side of the Moon takes away from. And actually, that's what makes it so difficult to put it in the first position, because I know that people want it to be in that first position. I highly recommend checking it out. Definitely go listen to it. An iconic record, so great, and it's so difficult to not put it in that first position, but I'm going to tell you why right now. The number 1 spot in the top 5 Pink Floyd albums of all time, in my personal opinion, is The Wall, the greatest Pink Floyd album of all time. It's a 2-disc record. It came out in 1979, and this album is a masterpiece, just like Dark Side of the Moon and all the ones before it. But this one right here is an absolute masterpiece. So this also is a concept record, just like 1973's Dark Side of the Moon. But The Wall's special because it's about childhood, it's about loss, it's about psychosis, it touches base on a lot of mental health, being in your head too much, and it tells a grand story. Dark Side of the Moon's cool because it tells its own story in its own right with just the way that the world is and how, people are money hungry, and it touches a lot of base with like governmental problems and everything. But the Wall's special in its own right just because, one, it's a straight 2-disc album. It just flows immaculately. The fact that it tells those stories so flawlessly with great music, and every song is great on the album, it's so hard to do. And then later down the line, they released the Wall movie, and it kind of explained it a little bit better with like the main character being Pink, and it kind of just took you along the journey with like Roger Waters and his father, and how he was so close to his dad, but his dad died at a young age in World War II, and it touches base on all that stuff beautifully, in my opinion. I got to see Roger Waters' The Wall live back in 2010 and 2012. I went twice, and it was one of the most amazing experiences I ever was a part of. So when I was younger, I used to sit at my old desktop computer in my parents' house and watch The Wall live in 1980 in this god-awful quality when YouTube was like first just invented. and they had these awesome videos, and I just remember sitting there for hours on end watching these videos. So being able to see the thing live in person in 2010 and 2012, seeing it live in person was absolutely mind-blowing to me, and it was just so awesome to see. I still remember standing on the floor in 2012 and hearing the speakers. In the one part in the very beginning, there was a plane that flew over by and there's gunshots and everything, and you could hear, and it felt like the plane was circling around you and flying from one area to the arena to the next, and it was the coolest thing ever. The quadraphonic sound on that tour was insane. And don't even get me started with the lighting, the props, them building the wall in front of you, and then basically blowing it up and tearing it down in front of you too. It was just absolutely mind-blowing. And that's why The Wall is the top #1 album out of all the Pink Floyd albums, let alone this top 5, is because of the sheer creativity behind this album. From the storytelling to the stage presence of the wall, to all the graphic arts, to everything that goes into it, from the hammers to the Pink character, to all the different blow-ups and stuff that go into the tour, from the mother, from the teacher, all that stuff that we all know and love that make the album special. That's why The Wall is #1 in my opinion. It holds a special place in my heart, and it just is, it's such an awesome record. Even opening up the record, you can see the graphic arts inside of it made by Gerald Scarfe. It's just so awesome and immersive and iconic. I can't say enough great things about The Wall. It's truly touched me in my life, and that's why for me The Wall is the #1 album in all of Pink Floyd music. With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this video. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below. If you guys don't agree, make sure you tell me down below. Make sure you comment. Let me know. What's your top 5 Pink Floyd albums? Because everybody has a different opinion on it, and it's not that my opinion's right or wrong, but that's my opinion. That's how I feel. Awesome albums, amazing band. Pink Floyd's one of the greatest bands of all time, and if you haven't listened to them and you want to listen to them, get into it now. Start at Dark Side of the Moon and go forward. Start at Piper of the Gates of Dawn and go all the way through 1994's Division Bell. Just get your feet wet, get in there, listen to great music, share with the world, and yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for checking this out. If you want more videos like this, make sure you let me know too, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, rock and roll and peace.